1690, Jacob Bernoulli issued a mathematical challenge that would echo through history, the catenary problem. The question was deceptively simple. What is the exact mathematical curve formed by a heavy, flexible chain hanging between 2 points under its own gravity? It's a shape we see every day, in suspension bridges, in power lines, in any hanging cable. But describing it mathematically, that was another matter entirely. Even Galileo had gotten it wrong, guessing the curve was a parabola. It wasn't. And here's where Johann made his first move for glory. He claimed to have solved it in a single night using the new mathematics of calculus. Let me show you how he did it. Johann analyzed an infinitesimal segment of the chain in equilibrium. Picture a tiny piece of chain hanging there, perfectly balanced. 3 forces act on a segment from the lowest point to any point with coordinates x, y. First, T sub 0, the horizontal tension at the vertex, the lowest point of the chain. Second, T, the tangential tension at our point x, y. Third, W, the weight of the chain segment. This equals W times S, where W is the weight per unit length, and S is the arc length. Now, the equilibrium condition states that the slope of the curve equals the ratio of vertical to horizontal forces. Mathematically, dy over dx equals W over T sub 0, which equals W times S over T sub 0. Now, Johann applied the power of calculus. Step 1. Simplify constants. Define a constant A equals T sub 0 over W. This represents the parameter of the curve. Our equation becomes dy over dx equals S over A. Step 2. Form the differential equation. Differentiate with respect to x. d squared y over dx squared equals 1 over a times ds over dx. Step 3. Substitute the arc length formula. We know that ds over dx equals the square root of 1 plus the quantity dy over dx squared. Substituting, d squared y over dx squared equals 1 over a times the square root of 1 plus the quantity dy over dx all squared. Step 4. Integration. For the first integration, let p equal dy over dx. Then, dp over dx equals 1 over a times the square root of 1 plus p squared. Separating variables, dp over the square root of 1 plus p squared equals dx over a. Integrating both sides, inverse hyperbolic sine of p equals x over a plus c. With the boundary condition at x equals 0, p equals 0, meaning at the lowest point the slope is 0, we get c equals 0. Therefore, p equals hyperbolic sine of x over a. So our first integration yields the slope. dy over dx equals hyperbolic sine of x over a. For the second integration, we integrate again. Y equals a times hyperbolic cosine of x over a plus c. With the boundary condition at x equals 0, y equals a, we get y equals a times hyperbolic cosine of x over a. This is the final form. The significance: this proved the curve was a transcendental hyperbolic cosine, not a parabola, not a simple algebraic curve. This was a major early triumph for calculus.